So now I want to talk to you about, that is your profile, a whistle-stop tour of completing your profile, getting it up to scratch, making sure it's as, you know, as good as you possibly can, so that when you're connecting with people, then they're seeing what you want them to see. So LinkedIn is a really good tool for networking. You may have heard me say this before, 75% of jobs are got through people you know. And it's, you know, it's a lot easier to get jobs through people you know than it is through a random job board. So, and one way you can get to know more people is through networking on LinkedIn. So, first of all, build your network to 500 plus connections. Now, if you've got 0, that's going to take some time. I'm not saying that this is going to be, I think it probably took me about 1.5 years. I was on 3 when I started my business, and didn't really use it, and it took me about 1.5 years. But I have to say, I wasn't actively building it at that time. I was kind of meeting people and adding them, but it was kind of a slow burn. You could actually do it. There's a guy I was working with who really took to heart what I said, and he was connecting with loads of people, and he's built it up massively in the matter of like a few weeks. So the reason I say build your network to 500 plus connections, the more people that can see you, the more visible, you know, the more connections you have, the more visible you're going to be to prospective employers and to recruiters, because, you know, everyone's connected to lots of people, and your profile will just be out there more and more accessible to other people. It's all to do with you have first connections, so people who you're connected to, second connections, that means that someone you're connected to is connected to this person. And then third connections, there's less of a connection going on there, but sometimes, you know, you can often still see these people. Now, if you've only connected to 3 people, that's going to really restrict your second connections. And those people connect, really, you know, see your profile, and then they might be really key to your journey, your job finding journey. So connect with old colleagues, connect with your friends. That's the first instance. Once your profile's all looking shiny and brilliant and new, connect with your old colleagues and friends, and then look at their contacts and see who they're connected, and connect with relevant people. Now, you know, connect with relevant people. So I keep getting this lovely lady who's trying to connect with me from China. And she's obviously, bless her, she's only got about 10 connections, and she's trying to grow her network, but her profile's in Chinese, and I can't see how that's relevant to me, because I don't speak Chinese, unfortunately, and I'm not really looking to work with people in China. I could do, but I'm generally looking for more people in the UK or kind of surrounding areas. So, you know, you've got to think about, I wouldn't say connect with everybody and anyone, but, you know, because you're looking for a job, you can be quite sort of, you know, connect with people that you think are good. There are the odd dodgy people on there, so you've got to be aware of that. There's a lot of people who apparently have worked for the American Army that seem to want to connect if you're female. You know, it's amazing. You wouldn't think it on LinkedIn, but apparently they really want to get to know you very well, even on LinkedIn. So there you go. So I wouldn't connect with them. So also find key contacts in your field. So you might want to work in project management. And so look for people that work in, and there's a search function. You can look for people who work in project management, and then you can you know, find some key people that you can connect with. Now, I always think that personalizing your request is better. People often, I would say 9 times out of 10 people don't, and the people that tend to try and personalize their in my experience, unfortunately, that try and personalize their messages are generally looking for something. So I get a lot of people telling me that they're going to help me to earn 6 or 7 figures. which would be fabulous. I would love to earn 6 or 7 figures, but unfortunately I don't believe it, because if they're on there telling me that they're going to make me 6 or 7 figures, I sort of figure they still need the work, so something's wrong there. But anyway, that's maybe my very cynical view. So I don't connect with them. But they always personalize it. Oh, it'd be lovely to get to know you. You look really interesting. And I'm like, yeah. But personalize it in terms of, but I do feel that people appreciate it if it's a genuine, honest personalization. So it's like, I wouldn't be too direct. So it's kind of not like I need a job. I sort of build up to that, really, with the networking on LinkedIn. So initially, if it's kind of one of your friends, I'd say, oh, we've got, I see that we've got so and so in common, and I thought it might be, useful or mutually beneficial for us to connect or something, or whatever it is. Have a look at their profile, see if you can find something in common with that person, and kind of mention that in your first kind of connection. Some people do say, look, I'm trying to grow my network, and I thought you looked really interesting, what you do looked really interesting, and it'd be great to connect or something like that. And that's okay, if you can't think of anything else to say that's more relevant. So just grow your network. And what you're doing with these people is just, if somebody's interesting, if somebody's in your field and you think it might be worth kind of building a relationship with them, one of the things that you can do with somebody, like, that is relevant, is to maybe start commenting on their posts, for example. So you're building that relationship, they get to know who you are, so you're not just going in cold and going, oh, can you help me? And then it might be that you send them another message saying, oh, that post was really interesting the other day, and I'm looking to get into project management, have you got any, I really appreciate it, have you got any tips into how I might do that, or whatever, or do you have 10 minutes where I can have a phone call with you? And people actually are quite giving. Some people are, there's the odd person that isn't, but in my experience, I often ask people I know, and sometimes I don't know them that well, oh, can you help one of my clients, they're looking to get into your field, would you mind having a bit of a chat with them about it? And most of them say yes, or they say, look, I'm really busy, but I wouldn't mind if they send me like 5 questions and I can answer them, or a number of questions and I can answer them on email. That would probably be easier. Fine. So you're getting more information and kind of help from various people. It's all about building up connections in what you want to do, and eventually something generally happens. Follow potential employers. So have a think about, who are the people that I really want to work with, and start following them on LinkedIn. It's really easy to do, and it's a great way for you to be able to see like blogs that they're posting. It's good that you can see under them if they've got any new positions that they're advertising. They might talk about projects that they're working on, or like expansion plans, which gets you thinking, oh, there might be room to get in there. And so you're finding out a bit more about this company, which is really useful for you if you then do get invited for an interview. You've kept an eye on this, and you're kind of knowing much more information about them when you finally go for interview. But also it can be good if you're following a company, you can then see people who are working for them, and you might have some second connections of people who are working for this company. So again, that's a way of finding key contacts in your field, because you then connect with them, and then you build a relationship with them and see if they can help you to get a job in that company. But as I say, it's a slowly catchy monkey. I'm not this is the long game. We're thinking sort of 3 to 6 months of building relationships with people. I always tell people to try and start this as soon as they can. If they're in a job and they're thinking they might want to and they contact me and they say, oh, I kind of want to move at the moment, this is one of the first things they need to do, because you're building connections with people so that when you eventually want to leave, you've got that strong network behind you. You can also join professional groups in your field, another way to get noticed in your particular field. So I would be careful, make sure that they're active. So professional groups are used on LinkedIn, probably not as much as Facebook in my experience, actually. There's a lot of, groups are really big on Facebook, but there are some really active groups. It depends what you work in, or what your job's in. And, you can start, if you sort of comment in groups, then people will start to get to know who you are, and you just never know what might happen. I mean, certainly I've got work. Most of the work I've got is through networking. If I'm honest, it's a lot of what I get is people know me, and it might come later on or whatever, but it's through networking. So it's really important that, and if you show your expertise in a group, then people will be like, oh, they're interesting. And if something comes up, and they might even advertise positions in these groups, but make sure they are active, because otherwise you're just wasting your time. I mean, I'm thinking, I always suggest that you go onto LinkedIn every day and you're spending, as much time as you can. I think it'll put you off using it if you're very like, I have to spend an hour every day on LinkedIn. If you don't have an hour, just spend 10 minutes on there. But try and get on there every day. Try and do something for your job search on there every day. Oh, see, I put the recommendations there. I knew there was somewhere that I included that. But also relevant groups. I've written down some relevant groups just to help you. So it could be alumni if you have gone to university, or previous employers. There could be sort of certain groups there. Any sort of industry type groups, any associations you're a part of, maybe your professional associations. So I think I'm part of a coaching one, as well as other ones, sort of civic ones. There are some socially ones there as well, and sometimes you can get, you do get things through those as well. Local networking groups are good, obviously, because you're looking for things locally. So if they're geographically relevant, it's going to help your cause. But a lot of the groups aren't local, but there'll be people in it that are local and know of things. So I always think they might know somebody. So it's all about, but it as I say to you, don't get disheartened. It's putting the work in, and because you just never know. And you might, with networking, in my experience, sometimes you go to, so I do a lot of networking I used to do a lot of face-to-face networking. You might go to one meeting and immediately meet someone and get a piece of work, and it's like bang, brilliant. And then you might go to one and not get anything for 6 months, and then all of a sudden you get about 3 pieces of work. It's networking's like that. So it's just about keeping going.